Once upon a time, in a beautiful village somewhere in Africa, there lived a woman named Ajoke. Ajoke was known far and wide for her beauty, but unfortunately, her heart was as cold as ice. She had married a wealthy man named Tunde, who had a son named Toby from his late first wife. From the moment Ajoke entered Tunde's life, she was consumed by jealousy towards Toby. She couldn't stand the thought of her husband's love being divided between her and his son. She wanted Tunde to love only her and her own son Ibukun. Ajoke's jealousy towards Toby grew stronger with each passing day. She couldn't stand the thought of her husband showing any affection towards his late wife's son. She believed that Toby was a threat to her own son's position in the family, and she was determined to get rid of him. Ajoke tried to poison Toby twice, but her efforts were futile as he somehow managed to defeat both attempts. Frustrated and desperate, she came up with a sinister plan to get rid of Toby once and for all. One fateful day, Ajoke sent Toby on an errand to a distant village, knowing that he would have to pass through a dangerous forest where robbers lurked. As Toby made his way through the dense trees, he was suddenly accosted by a group of menacing figures. Just as it seemed that all hope was lost, a familiar voice called out his name. It was Ibukun, Ajoke's son.
Toby! Toby! Wait! Wait for me!
Toby was surprised. Ibukun rushed to Toby's side, panting out of breath. He explained that a passing car had splashed dirty water on him. Ibukun begged Toby to lend him his shirt so that he could return to his girlfriend Shade. Toby, being the kind-hearted soul that he was, agreed without hesitation. He said to Ibukun,
Here, take my shirt. I don't want your day to be ruined, but make sure you return it in one piece.
Just then, some robbers closed in, but before they could harm Toby, Ibukun bravely stood in front of him, shielding him from danger. Together, the two boys managed to outsmart the robbers and escaped unharmed. Toby couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude towards his brother Ibukun. The boys were happy that they were unhurt. Little did they know that Ajoke's hired killers were closing in on them. The killers had been given specific instructions by Ajoke that Toby would be wearing a yellow shirt. They were lying in wait for Toby to pass so they could carry out their evil deed. But fate had other plans. When the killers pulled over and saw Ibukun in Toby's yellow shirt, believing him to be Toby, the men inside pointed directly at Ibukun. Ibukun's eyes widened in fear as he realized what was happening. Before he could react, the men dragged him into the car and sped away, leaving Toby standing there in shock. The killers drove Ibukun to the riverbank, where they carried out their dreadful deed as commanded by Ajoke. Ibukun's lifeless body was left by the river, a victim of his mother's wicked scheme. Meanwhile, Ajoke awaited the news of Toby's demise. She was unexplainably happy that evening. She prepared her best meal and served her husband Tunde. As they ate, Tunde noticed Ajoke's unusual mood.
My love, you have been unusually happy all day. Why not share the good news so that we can celebrate with you?
Okomi, you will never understand. That evening, Toby arrived home still panicking as he narrated what had happened to his parents. Ajoke, upon hearing that her son had exchanged shirts with Toby, her heart sank. She fell to the ground with a loud cry. She knew she may never see her beloved son again. Tunde, having realized the extent of Ajoke's treachery, in his grief and anger, he confronted his wife, demanding answers.
Ajoke, what have you done? How could you betray us like this?
Ajoke's face crumbled as she tried to justify her actions. As the news of Ibukun's death spread, villagers gossiped about the possibility of Ajoke having a hand in her own son's death. The killers now wanted their balance for carrying out the heinous act, and they threatened to reveal everything if they didn't get paid. Ajoke was forced to confess. The villagers and the king, upon hearing of Ajoke's despicable actions, were outraged. They banished her from the village, never to return again. Toby and Tunde were left devastated by the loss of Ibukun, whose life was cut short by his own mother Ajoke. And as for Ajoke, she was left to wander the lands, haunted by the guilt of her actions and the knowledge that her jealousy and wickedness had cost her everything she held dear. Toby and Ibukun's bond remained unbroken even in death. And in the end, love and kindness prevailed over jealousy and malice, proving that goodness always triumphs in the face of adversity.